Welcome to Breakthrough Weekly. I'm your host, Monica Pelayo. Thank you for being here. If you're new, welcome. And if you've been coming back each week, I'm really grateful you're here. If these conversations around belief, identity, and lasting change resonate with you, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Every new year begins the same way, doesn't it? Fresh goals, clear intentions, a genuine desire for change. And yet, so many people quietly experience the same frustration. You know what you want, you plan thoughtfully, you even feel motivated, but somewhere between intention and action, something happens. Some people never start, others begin strong and then slowly lose momentum, focus drifts, life takes over, and this is usually where people blame procrastination, discipline, consistency. But those are not the real problem. If you want to understand why goals stall, you have to understand how the mind actually works. Here is something important to understand. The mind is not designed to help you achieve goals. It is designed to keep you safe. And safety to the subconscious means what is familiar, what is predictable. It means staying within an identity that has already proven to survive. So when you set a goal that requires growth, visibility, change, and expansion, your mind isn't asking, hey, is this good for me? It's asking, is this familiar? Do I know how to cope? Do I know how to act? If it doesn't feel familiar, resistance will be created. This is where people get confused. Consciously, you want change. Unconsciously, you experience hesitation, delay, distraction, and even self-sabotage. Not because you're incapable, but because your subconscious is responding to what it perceives as a threat to the identity it's always known. And that response was learned early, then reinforced over time. Core beliefs form early in life, often without words. They're emotional conclusions drawn from experiences, environments, and relationships. Over time, those beliefs become filters. They shape how you see opportunities, how you make decisions, how safe it feels to move forward. Some beliefs sound subtle. Wanting more feels risky. Success brings pressure. If I slow down, everything will fall apart. Being visible leads to judgment. These beliefs often operate quietly, outside your awareness, but they shape behavior in powerful ways. This is why self-sabotage doesn't show up randomly. It often appears right after momentum begins. You start strong, you feel motivated, you take action for 2 or 3 weeks, and then, almost without realizing it, you drift back into old patterns. That's not lack of motivation. It's your brain responding to what feels unfamiliar or unsafe. The brain learns through repetition. When you introduce a new behavior but don't reinforce it consistently, the subconscious interprets it as something unsafe. Resistance increases, not because the goal is wrong, but because the pattern hasn't been repeated long enough to feel familiar. It takes approximately 21 days of daily consistency for the brain to begin forming a new habit. If action stops or becomes sporadic, before that window, the mind defaults back to what it already knows. Familiar patterns feel safer than incomplete ones. That's why people say, I was doing great, and then I just stopped. Your mind was responding exactly as it was designed to. And when you understand that, the shame drops. Consistency isn't about pushing harder. It's about allowing the brain to feel safe enough to move forward. This is also why I include a recorded audio in my work and ask clients to listen daily for 21 days. Repetition creates a new neural pathway. Listening daily reinforces those pathways so they straighten over time instead of defaulting back to what is familiar. The audio supports consistency at the level where habits and neural patterns are actually formed. Once safety is addressed, there's another piece most people overlooked. The mind needs clear instructions. When goals are vague, the brain doesn't know what to execute. Language matters. When you say, I want, the brain hears a wish. And a wish implies something you don't have and may not expect to achieve ever. So the subconscious doesn't act on it. The brain acts on what it believes and what it claims, not what it's merely hoped for. Stronger language creates a different internal response. I will signals intention. I am becoming signals movement. I am signals identity. And the brain acts in alignment with identity. These phrases tell the brain something is already in motion. They give it direction. Being specific matters. Vague goals create vague outcomes. Clear goals give the mind something to organize around. Let's take a common example, a health goal. Many people say, I want to lose weight or I want to get back in shape. From the brain's perspective, that's vague. There's no clear outcome, no image, no instruction. Clear instructions sound different. A specific weight range, a specific clothing size, a clear picture of what your body looks and feels like. Visualization reinforces those instructions. Seeing yourself wearing clothes at that size. Seeing yourself step on the scale and read that number. Not as wishful thinking, but as rehearsal. The clearer the image, the easier it is for the brain to align behavior with it. This isn't positive thinking. It's giving the brain usable information and reinforcing it daily until it becomes familiar and automatic. Clear language gives direction, but direction alone isn't enough. This is where your why matters. A strong why carries you when you're running on empty. Many people operate from a surface level why. They want to feel better, look better, earn more. That creates initial motivation, but it often doesn't carry you through discomfort. A rooted why is emotional, personal. It clarifies why the change matters now and what staying the same is costing you. That deeper why becomes fuel. This is why reminding yourself daily matters. Repetition keeps the why active, so you keep moving even when discomfort shows up. Without reinforcement, the brain defaults back to what it knows to protect you. With reinforcement, change stops feeling like a risk. This is also why work, like Dean Graciosi's focus on digging into a deeper why, resonates with so many people. When the why is clear and revisited often, the mind has context. It understands why effort is necessary and why staying the same is no longer the safest option. When resistance shows up, instead of asking what's wrong with you, ask something different. Why does this change feel threatening right now? What am I afraid might happen if this actually works? These questions shift from behavior to understanding. Awareness is the beginning of change, but awareness alone isn't the shift. The brain changes through repetition. That's why you can understand your patterns intellectually and still repeat them. Before setting goals this year, pause. What feels uncomfortable about this goal fully working? What fear surfaces when you imagine sustaining this change long term? These questions aren't about pressure, they're about clarity. This year doesn't require more force. It requires understanding how your mind responds to change. And reinforcing new instructions consistently, if you notice yourself pulling back, it's not failure. It's a signal. When you stop forcing change and start working with the mind, forward movement stops feeling like a battle. You don't need more willpower. You need clear direction, consistent reinforcement, and enough repetition for the mind to stop pulling you back to what is familiar. This is the work I guide people through. We identify where the mind is pulling back from change, and we use repetition, including a personalized audio to reinforce new neural pathways to support consistent forward movement toward the version of you who you're becoming. If you're ready to change, the next step is to book a free discovery call at thethrivingpathways.com/appointment. And if this conversation resonated, follow and subscribe to Breakthrough Weekly for deeper conversations around belief, identity, and lasting change. Thank you for staying with me today. I'll see you next episode.